Okay, here we go. We're going to continue our reading in the Standard Works. And to reiterate again, I am in this series reading the entire Standard Works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading this in chronological order according to events, not according to publication or volume. So I will be jumping around a bit. I have already read the Book of Moses and the Book of Abraham in the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading through Genesis right now, and I have read a portion of the Book of Ether in the Book of Mormon. We are continuing in Genesis as we are progressing in chronology of events. As I read in the Bible, I will include those portions of the Joseph Smith translation. And this is an inspired correction or translation of the Bible done by Joseph Smith to restore those portions that were lost over time. So, let us continue. We are in Genesis chapter 29. There are no Joseph Smith translations in this particular chapter. So, let us begin. Jacob meets Rachel at the well. He serves Laban 7 years for her. Laban gives Jacob first Leah, then Rachel in marriage. Jacob serves another 7 years. Leah bears Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Then Jacob went on his journey and came into the land of the people of the east. And he looked, and behold, a well in the field, and lo, there were 3 flocks of sheep lying by it. For out of that well they watered the flocks, and a great stone was upon the well's mouth. And thither were all the flocks gathered, and they rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the sheep, and put the stone again upon the well's mouth in his place. So they got this big well, and apparently to keep it clean, you don't want dust and stuff being blown into the well. They covered it with a stone to keep stuff out, other stuff out of it, keep it clean. So now, verse 4. And Jacob said unto them, My brethren, whence be ye? And they said, Of Haran are we. And he said unto them, Know ye Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said, We know him. And he said unto them, Is he well? And they said, He is well. And behold, Rachel his daughter cometh with the sheep. And he said, Lo, it is yet high day, neither is it time that the cattle should be gathered together. Water ye the sheep, and go and feed them. And they said, We cannot, until the flocks be gathered together, until they roll the stone from the well's mouth. Then we water the sheep. Okay, so all these men are gathered together with their flocks, but they're not watering the sheep yet because the stone is still covering the well. And Jacob asks them about Laban. It says Laban, the son of Nahor, but Laban was the son of Bethuel, who was the son of Nahor. So we can see how these familial terms are fairly loose in their definitions within the scriptures. So, but Rachel's coming with her flocks, and Jacob says, "Oh, don't wait for me. Don't wait. Go ahead and water your sheep." And the man says, It's okay. We can't water until they come and roll the stone away. But anyways, verse 9. And while he yet spake with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, and she kept them, for she kept them. And it came to pass, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, that Jacob went near, and rolled the stone from the well's mouth, and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. And Jacob kissed Rachel, and lifted up his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's brother, and that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father. And it came to pass, when Laban heard the tidings of Jacob his sister's son, that he ran to meet him, and embraced him, and kissed him, and brought him to his house. And he told Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, Surely thou art my bone and my flesh. And he abode with him the space of a month. Okay. So, what's going on here? First of all, you got to understand, Laban has not seen Rachel, or he hasn't seen Jacob or Esau either. But Jacob and Esau were born when Isaac was 60. Isaac is now a very old man going blind. I can't remember exactly how old Isaac lived, but this has got to be something like 75 years later. So Laban probably hasn't seen his sister or his nephews in years. They may have, I have no doubt they visited on occasion, but it was not a common thing. But it actually appears that they never met. This is the first time Laban has met Jacob. And it says here, he abode with him the space of a month. So for 1 month, Jacob was a guest in Laban's house. Now, verse 15. And Laban said unto Jacob, Because thou art my brother, shouldest thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall thy wages be? And Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And Jacob loved Rachel, and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel thy younger daughter. And Laban said, It is better that I give her to thee, than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. And Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days, for the love he had to her. Now, pay attention to this. Jacob didn't meet her at the well and instantly fall in love with her. This was not a love at first sight. He had been living with Laban for a month now. And in that month, they had gotten acquainted. And in that month, he decided he had come to love her. So he works 7 years, and his wages are, he gets to marry Rachel. Because remember, at this time, in order to marry, two people didn't just get together. It was, if I want to marry your daughter, I pay you a certain amount, and then I can marry your daughter. And that's what Jacob is saying is, my payment will be, instead of paying you for your daughter, I will work for you. That's the arrangement. So, verse 21. And Jacob said unto Laban, Give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass in the evening that he took Leah his daughter, and brought her to him, and went in unto her. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah his maid for an handmaid. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, What is this thou hast done unto me? Did not I serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then hast thou beguiled me? And Laban said, It must not be so done in our country, to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill her week, and we will give thee this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet 7 other years. And Jacob did so, and fulfilled her week, and he gave her Rachel his daughter to wife also. And Laban gave to Rachel his daughter Bilhah, his handmaid, to be her maid. And he went in also unto Rachel, and he loved also Rachel more than Leah, and served with him yet 7 other years. So what is going on here? A few things you got to know. First, the question is, how did Jacob not know that he was with Leah? So it says that he gave him his daughter Leah, and he went in unto her. That means they slept together that night. How did Jacob not know? This is actually very simple. Is that the wedding veil? Even today, it's, the brides wear the wedding veil, and it's bad luck to see the bride before the wedding, right? Back then, apparently, it was the tradition that the bride did not remove the wedding veil until the morning after. And so she had her face covered the entire night. That's why Jacob didn't know that it was Leah and not Rachel. But you'll also note that he still married Rachel at this time. Some people think that he worked 7 years, married Leah, then he worked 7 more years and married Rachel. No. He married Leah, and then it says he fulfilled her week, because the tradition, the marriage feast, was not a single day. It was a 1-week affair. You would get married, usually it would be you'd have like 2 or 3 days of celebrations, then the marriage, and then 2 or 3 days of celebrations afterwards. Marriage being in the center. That's the way I understand it anyways. I could be wrong there, but that's the way I understand it. But either way, he waited until the marriage feast to Leah was over. Then he married Rachel. And after he had married both of them, he worked another 7 years for Laban. Let us continue. Verse 31. And when the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Reuben. For she said, Surely the Lord hath looked upon my affliction. Now therefore my husband will love me. So look at this. The meaning of the name Reuben is look, a son. Reuben, Ben means son, I do believe. So apparently Ru means look. Reuben. Verse 33, and she conceived again and bare a son, and said, Because the Lord hath heard that I was hated, he hath therefore given me this son also. And she called his name Simeon. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, Now this time will my husband be joined unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore was his name called Levi. And she conceived again and bare a son, and she said, Now will I praise the Lord. Therefore she called his name Judah, and left bearing. Okay, now just briefly here, the meaning of the name Simeon is hearing. Thus hath the Lord because the Lord hath heard that I was hated. So Simeon means hearing. Levi means joined or pledged, because she says, My husband will be joined to me. And Judah means praise. So you know the names that are being given have significance in their meaning, not just that they are that person. I find that interesting. But one last note here. Some people like to say how evil Jacob was because he favored Rachel over Leah. And he says there, Leah was hated and Rachel was loved. I don't think he hated Leah. But he did favor Rachel. But you got to understand, he worked 7 years for Rachel, and his marriage to Leah was done through deception. The fact that he did not fight it, the fact that he said, no, this is not what I agreed to, this is not a legal marriage, I am not going to recognize this. The fact that he didn't do that shows that he actually still had some affection for Leah, and he was an honorable man. He's like, fine. But he favored Rachel because Rachel is the one he had fallen in love with. He still cared for Leah, but he cared more for Rachel. And Leah went through with the deception herself. She was part of the deception. Even if it was ordered by her father, she was part of the deception. She knew what she was getting into. So I do have a little sympathy for her, but she knew what she's getting into. But I got to go, and I will see you in the next one.